Hello, good day everyone. So now we're here in our new lesson in our subject 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world. But before we proceed with our new lesson, let's have this quick game or quick activity. So we call it next chapter. So for our directions, just read the unfinished story and imagine what happened next, and can you please think or imagine your own ending? So be creative as every idea is welcome. And since you're just watching this video lesson, you may pause the every unfinished story para makapag-isip kayo, okay? So for our first short story, The Mysterious Letter. So let's start. When Andrea arrived at school, she found an envelope inside her locker. It had no name, no stamp, and no return address. Curious, she opened it and found only one sentence: "Don't trust the person sitting beside you today." She slowly looked at her classmate and so it's your turn to think of the next happenings. So you may pause this video for a while for you to think, imagine. Okay, so let's go to the next short story. The title of this one is The Strange Phone Call. Miguel was reviewing for tomorrow's exam when his phone rang. The caller ID showed his own phone number. He answered. A voice whispered, Whatever you do, don't go to school tomorrow because it's your turn." Okay, let's have our third one, The Old Diary. While cleaning their grandmother's attic, Joshua discovered an old diary. Every page described events that happened exactly 1 day before they actually occurred. He turned to the last page and read, "Your turn." Okay, next, The Last Train. A college student missed the last train home. Just as he was about to leave the station, another train suddenly arrived. There was only one passenger inside. The passenger smiled and said, "I've been waiting for you." Then, okay, so that's the end of our quick activity or quick game. Okay, so now let's proceed to our new lesson. So for our lesson number 3, it talks about the landscape of the Philippine fiction. So it says here that the desire to tell stories is inherent to every human being. It is one of the ways we make connections, and this is very true because we humans, or especially we Filipinos, are naturally love to tell stories. For example, in ancient times, people have shared experiences, beliefs, and imagination through storytelling. So yung stories na to, lahat ng mga yon ay may origin, and lahat ng yon ay may connections, not just about we are talking about experiences, beliefs, and so on, but it also give a way for us to connect as a person or as human. So now let's proceed to the definition of fiction. So I I'm sure that you're already familiar with fiction, right? So once we said fiction, it talks about the imaginary or not real. So everything that is happening to the stories of fiction, I almost made from the author's imagination. And some major of this literature written in prose. So commonly pa story type talaga siya. Hindi siya commonly yung mga natakal natin last time na papoem. Next, it may be founded on true story. So sa fiction naman, hindi naman porket sinabi nating fiction ay nakapokus lang siya into imaginary stories or more on sa imagination ni author. Commonly, meron pa rin ng mga real events or true story na kaganapan sa mga stories created with fiction. So, ang ginagawa doon, hinahaluan nila ng true story and fiction elements. Okay, so commonly, ginagawa nilang nakabase siya sa true story pero yung mga characters fictionated or hindi na totoo yung pangalan ng character, may iniiba lang para hindi siya ganun maging non-fiction. Okay? And then, can be categorized based on length, genre, or themes. So, next, we have Dead Stars. Are you familiar with this story, short story written by Paz Marquez Benitez? So, Paz Marquez Benitez, she is an she is a Filipino writer during the American period. So, It says here it's said to be the mark of an era where Filipinos have already mastered the English language in short story writing. So isa yung Dead Star sa mga naging famous short story before during the American period. For a while. So, um, this story became significant because it showed that Filipino writers had already mastered writing short stories in English. Okay? So, next, we have the types of um, fictions or novels. So first we have novelettes. So it consists or it composed of 7,500 to 19,000 words. So commonly yung theme neto nagre-revolve sa romance or it has sentimental in character. And commonly, yung novelettes, maiksi siya compare sa novellas and novels. And kaya mo itong matapos in just one sit. Okay, next, the novellas, it consists of 19,000 to 40,000 words. So, mas mahaba siya compared sa novelettes. And usually, it explore a conflict in characters, focus on one character's personal and emotional development. And the third one, the novel, usually, it has 40,000 above words. So, ito na yung pinakamahabang version among these three. And it involves multiple major characters, plots, conflicts, point of view, and twist. And can include flashbacks. Kaya ganun siya kahaba kasi marami na siyang elements. So, next, we have elements of fiction. Siyempre, hindi naman siya magiging fiction or hindi naman siya magiging story itself if we don't have these important elements or important ingredients in fiction. Okay, so first we have setting. Sorry, hindi ko alam kung bakit siya nagloloko yung graphics. Okay, so let's proceed. So in setting, we have three important components. So first, we have time, place, condition. So in time, ang tinatakal dito if the story happened from the past or if the story happens during or in the modern time or if the story will be happens in the future. Okay, so for example, yung story ng Footnote to Youth, ano kaya yung time noon? So during ano pa yon, the American period. So the story was written from the past. Okay? So next yung place kung saan originally create yung story na yon or possible makikita siya inside the story kung saan yung setting, saan yung tagpuan ng characters mismo doon sa loob ng story. And ganun din naman sa time. Next condition, pwede rin magpasok yung authors ng conditions like for example merong nilalapatan or nilalagyan ng culture part. For example, sa story na to, may part kung saan pinapakita yung culture, yung society, politics, beliefs, or religion. Okay? Again, kapag sinabi natin setting, it doesn't only focus on the setting or the place itself, but it also have time and condition. Okay? I hope it is clear for you. So now, let's have character. Basically, we have a lot of characters, types of characters, but we'll focus just on the eight types of characters. So we have protagonist, antagonist, stack, confidant, round, flat, dynamic, and static. So let's start with the protagonist. I know you're already familiar with this. Since protagonists, they are the main or central character of the story. So, basically, sila yung mga sikat na sikat, sila yung focus ng story. Okay? Alam niyo na yan, yung bida ng story. And commonly, yung mga protagonists natin, sila yung may mga characteristics na mababuti, mababait, mapagpatawad, magaganda, kung ano pang traits na maganda, 'di ba? So commonly yun yung mga protagonist, yung mga madalas inaapi, madalas ganto ganyan. Yan. So alam niyo na 'yan. Next, antagonist. So kabaliktaran lang, they commonly opposes the protagonist. So yung mga kontrabida and responsible for the conflict that the character faces. Commonly sila talaga yung reason ng mga conflict, okay? So sila yung kontrabida, sila yung lagi nang aapi, sila yung mga lagi masasama yung role sa story. Next, stock character. So, they are recognizable flat character. So, commonly, yung stock character, madalas silang nagkakaroon ng, or stereotype. For example, sa story ng The Footnote to Youth. So, pinakita doon yung parents ni Dodong, 'di ba? So, they are part of the stock character. Kasi kapag nagpakita si author ng mga characters like family members, yung father, mother, automatically, nape-predict na agad ng readers kung ano yung ganap ni stock character sa story. For example nga, sa family member, yung mother, yung father, automatically, kahit hindi na ganun i-explain, hindi na ganun i-expose ni author yung ganong characters, automatically, you are able to understand their role. Okay? So, madalas sila din yung mga na-stereotype kasi nga, commonly, ganun yung mga roles nila. Okay? Next, confident, they are characters whom the protagonist trust. So, commonly, ito yung mga kaibigan ni protagonist, best friend, BFF, yung mga kanang kamay, ganyan. So, confident. Next, we have round characters. So, basically, they describe in depth with many details. So, for example, sa footnote to youth ulit tayo, 'di ba? Ang protagonist natin doon si Dodong. Si Dodong yung gustong magpakasal kay Taeyang dahil akala niya enough nang mahal niya si Taeyang para pakasalan siya, okay? So, doon usually yung round character, pwede rin siya maging si protagonist, pwede rin siya maging round character since 'di ba ang protagonist siya yung main character, siya yung focus sa story. So, commonly siya yung binibigyan ng depth or diin ng characteristics sa story. So, siya yung mas nakikilala natin, siya yung mas nalalaman natin kung ano yung ugali niya. So, nagbabago yung ugali niya, meron pala siyang ganitong personality, gato, ganyan. So, round. So, maraming details, um, marami tayong malalaman about sa round character. Deep yung malalaman pa natin sa kanya. Next, flat character, limited information. Commonly, yung mga flat character, konti lang yung exposure nila sa story and um, makikilala lang natin sila based sa isang character na pinakita ni author sa character na yon. Okay? So, commonly, yung stock character natin, para lang din silang flat character. So, somehow, medyo parehas sila. Okay? Next, dynamic character. Sila naman yung nagbabago, may pagbabago in their personal, emotional, cognitive growth. Okay? So, for example, nakita mo yung character as masama. Tapos, throughout the story, nagbago yung character na yun. So, may changes na nangyari. Dynamic, nagbabago. Next, static. So, stays the same throughout the story. Kabaliktaran lang ng dynamic. Sa static, walang pagbabago. Kung paano mo siyang nakilala from the beginning, from the start, from the introduction of the story, and to the end of the story, ganun pa rin siya. Static, walang pagbabago. Okay? So, ano kaya sa tingin nyo yung difference between the stock, flat, and static. Again, so yung stock, sila yung kahit hindi na masyadong explain ni author sa story, kilala mo na, alam mo na, familiar na yung role niya. Okay? Kapag naman flat, alam mo na ito lang siya. Onti lang yung details na alam mo sa kanya, walang lalim, hindi katulad ng round character. Okay? Ito lang siya. Yun lang yung pagkakakilala mo sa kanya. Okay? Yung static naman, walang pagbabago. Si flat, konti lang, parang limited lang yung alam nating details about that specific character. Si static naman, hindi nagbabago, as in walang pagbabago. Okay, I hope it is clear for you the types of our characters. Next, the point of view. Sobrang basic na neto for you. So, first we have syempre, first person point of view. So, from the perspective of a character. So, commonly, kapag ikaw yung nagbabasa ng story, feeling mo, ikaw yun. Ikaw yung gumaganap sa story. Because we, here in first person POV, the authors uses personal pronoun like I, my, mine, me. Ayan. So, for example, here, I looked up at the terrace and saw Juliet, my love, as beautiful as the sun, looking down on me. Okay, so as you can see, here, the author used the personal pronoun I, my, and me. So, commonly kapag ikaw yung nagbabasa, ikaw yung reader, parang ikaw yung nagsasabi ng line ni Romeo. Okay? So, may ginamit pang figure of speech dyan. O anong type ng figure of speech tong my love as beautiful as the sun. Okay, ano yon? So, figure of speech, simile. Yan. So, ayan. So, tignan nyo tong illustration natin dito. So, ito si Juliet, ito si Romeo. And si narrator, ang ganap niya, ayan. So, si narrator at si character, iisa lang. Okay? Kaya kapag binabasa mo siya, feeling mo, ikaw yung nandun sa story, ikaw yung nagsasalita. Next, the second person POV, reader as spectator. So here in second person POV, ang ginagamit ng um, pronouns ng author dyan ay yung you, ayan, commonly yung you, your, okay? So for example, um, you went to school that morning. Pero yung second person POV, hindi siya ganun ginagamit sa pagsusulat ng novels. Okay, so commonly, ano talaga, more on first person POV or third person POV. So here we have third person POV, the external narrator, and we also have third person limited follows one character, and third person omniscient can follow multiple characters. So in third person POV, hindi lang siya iisa nga. So meron siyang types. Okay, kapag si third person limited, ang ganap ni author, alam niya lang kung ano yung iniisip ng isang character sa story. So basically, ine-expose niya kung ano yung nararamdaman or iniisip ng one specific character sa story. Whereas, yung third person omniscient, from the word omniscient, all-knowing, so lahat ng characters dun sa story ay ine-expose niya yung feeling. So, parehas na POV ng characters, pinapakita niya kung ano yung nararamdaman, iniisip, and so on. So, for example, when Romeo saw Juliet on the terrace above him, he thought she looked as beautiful as the sun. He thought. So here, this is the example of the third person limited because it only talk about or it only tells about Romeo's thoughts. Hindi niya sinabi yung kung ano rin yung nararamdaman ni Juliet. Okay? So, ganyan yung illustration. So, nandito nasa labas si narrator. Okay? Kaya ang sinasabi niya lang yung thoughts ng one specific character. Okay. So, I hope you're getting it. So, I hope clear sa inyo yung third person limited and third person omniscient. Okay, next, so we have conflict. So, syempre, ang conflict, hindi siya pwedeng mawala sa elements ng fiction. So, since ang conflict siya yung nagbibigay ng exciting part din sa story. So, for example, we have six types of conflict. First, the man versus self, man versus society, man versus technology, man versus nature, and man versus supernatural. So, let's have this man versus man. So, here it is the central character faces opposition from another character. So basically, yung conflict ay nangyayari sa character versus character sa story. Okay? So, for example, yun nga yung kanina, di ba? I explained already the types of characters that we have. For example, sa man versus man conflict, yung antagonist and protagonist. Okay? So, next, man versus self, internal struggle naman po yan. So, yung conflict nangyayari within the characters thoughts, feelings, emotions. So, nasa kanya mismo yung conflict, nasa loob niya. Okay? So, yung kalaban niya dyan, sarili niya. Okay? So, next, so commonly sa man versus self, yung mga genre niyan, pwedeng yung may, or yung topic, yung story about sa mga psychological, ganyan. So, di ba may struggle within themselves yung mga ganong type ng story. So, next, man versus society, battle against traditions, institutions, or laws. So, anything na pumapatungkol sa society, for example, si character against doon, or basta anything na may conflict between the character and the law in that kind of place and so on. Next, man versus technology, when science moves beyond human control. So here naman yung conflict nangyayari between the technology and the character in the story. So so here may part na ng science. Okay? So more on, for example, may mga robot, may mga kung ano pa. So more likely yung genre na pwedeng pumasok dito yung science genre. Ayan, science fiction. So next, the man versus nature, the character against some force of nature such as animal or nature. So yung conflict naman nangyayari versus character, the character versus the specific creature in that story. Ayan, so next, man versus supernatural, any unbelievable, supernatural, or inexplicable phenomena. Okay, so next, let's proceed to our plot of the story. So, commonly yung plot, ginagamit siya para mas madaling intindihin yung story or para mas, or ginagamit din siya to summarize the story. So, ano bang meron sa plot? So, let's use this Gustav Freytag's pyramid. So, let's start with exposition. So, in exposition, necessary background information is provided, such as characters and settings. So, commonly, in exposition, it consists of the introduction part. So, doon ini-introduce yung characters and yung setting. Okay? So, sa exposition din, commonly, yung kaganapan dito, smooth pa lang kasi introduction pa nga lang siya. So, pinapakilala kung ano yung characters, ano yung type ng characters na meron sa story, ano yung setting, ano yung unang tagpuan, saan sila nagkakilala, saan sila nagkaroon ng encounter, and so on. Next, the rising action, the character faces complications and tension builds up. So here in rising action from the word itself, rising action. So pataas siya. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, yung pyramid, ayan. So nag-start dito tayo dito at the bottom, pataas. So in rising action, dito na nag-start na makaranas ng conflicts or ng problema yung main character natin. And the tension are building up. So, yung climax naman, it is the turning point or the exciting part of the story. So, since nagkaroon na ng tension, so, ang next nun, yung exciting part sa story, which is the climax. So, the turning point of the story where the plot changes direction. So, dito rin na re-reveal yung plot ng story, yung pinaka um, ganap ng story. So, kaya yung climax, more likely sinasabi natin siya, exciting part. Next, falling action, the lives of the characters are on track to going back to normal. So, from climax to falling action, that means, uh, nagkakaroon na nare-resolve na yung problem sa story, nagkakaayos na yung character sa story, ganyan. And then, sa denouement or the resolution, the end of the story where conflict is resolved and the protagonist live for good, distortion of ending may happen. So here, the final part of the story ay resolution. Na-resolve na lahat ng problem, wala nang gulo, naging maayos na ulit yung buhay ni protagonist. So that's the plot of the story. So kung if ever you're going to encounter na ang bibigyan kayo ng task to summarize a kind of story, so magandang advice ay gawin nyo to, yung plot. So, kasi matutulungan kayo to summarize a specific story kasi ang kukunin nyo lang doon yung exposition, yung rising action, climax, falling action, and the resolution. Next, the theme. Siyempre, ang theme, this is the main idea that is waved throughout a story. May have more than one theme, but sorry, but some themes may stick out more. So, commonly yung mga stories, hindi lang naman siya na-focus into one theme, but also it consists of a lot of themes or ideas and can vary from person to person or depending to the author. So, depends naman kung ano yung magiging um, response natin, di ba? We already tackled the response, reader response theory wherein it depends on the readers kung paano niya naintindihan yung story. So, depende, kapag nagbabasa tayo sa story, iba yung nagiging interpretation natin and somehow, iba yung nagiging dating ng tema sa atin. So, here, pwedeng gumamit si author ng themes like judgment, survival, peace and war, love, heroism, good and evil, cycle of life, depression, deception, coming of age. So, everything, pwede applicable sa isang story. Next, we have genres of fiction. So, we're almost done. So, in genres of fiction, I know familiar naman na kayo dito since you're already exposed to every genres that we have today. So, first we have mystery, also called detective fiction. And here, it uses literary devices like red herrings and cliffhangers. So, commonly, ang goal ng mystery is to confuse the readers or to give clues, to give cliffhangers, yung mga pabitin. And usually, it talks about solving a crime or a puzzle using clues and suspense. Next, we have thriller. So, it is dark, mysterious, and suspenseful driven stories. But, ang pinagkaiba niya lang sa mystery, meron na siyang psychological element. And, ayan, it builds suspense, danger, and psychological tension. Next, the horror. So, here, it it has the intention to scare the readers with supernatural or terrifying elements. So usually it focuses on themes of death, demons, evil spirits, scary beings like monsters and ghosts, etc. Next, historical. So here, set in the past and combines historical research with creative storytelling. Next, the famous genre known that we know, the romance. So it centers around love story between two people with an emotionally satisfying ending. Next, Bildungsroman. For sure, hindi siya ganun ka-familiar sa inyo. So, it revolves around a character growing psychologically and morally from their youth into adulthood, experience of emotional loss, etc. So, pinapakita dito kung paano nagkaroon ng personal growth, lahat holistic growth ng isang tao sa story. Yung Harry Potter, pwede siyang ma-considered as part ng Bildungsroman genre kasi 'di ba yung Harry Potter nag-start siya sa pagiging bata. Pinakita yung pagiging bata niya hanggang pagka binata niya. So, yun yung Bildungsroman. More likely nakafocus siya sa characters growth. So, in all aspects, emotionally, psychological, or cognitive, and personal, or physical aspect. Next, science fiction, so inspired by natural science like physics, chemistry, and astronomy, or social sciences like psychology, anthropology, and sociology. A world that is different because of technology. So usually it explores world shaped by science and technology. Next, we have fantasy, so takes place in an imaginary world with magic and mythical beings. So yung magic realism naman, it has the magical elements also. It consists of real life events. Okay, so parang combination siya ng fiction and non-fiction. Next, realistic fiction. So ito naman, yung realistic fiction, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina from our intro, meron siyang taste or meron siyang part na yung story ay based sa true story. Okay, so ayan, it depict real people, places, and stories, pero ginagawa siyang fiction. Then, it has reflections on humanity. Next, speculative fiction, and it encompasses a number of different genre of fiction, from science fiction to fantasy to dystopians. It was like an umbrella, broad yung speculative fiction na meron tayo dito. Next, we have historical biographical approach. So, here in historical approach, the context about the time the text was written could have influenced its creation. So, commonly, yung mga stories, hindi lang siya, or for example, na-create tong kind ng book, ng story na to, hindi lang siya more likely nakafocus doon sa story itself, but also, it has historical background or biographical background. So, more likely, baka kaya ganito yung naging context ng story ay may influence or may approach ng history or historical background or biographical background. Katulad nga dito, the context about the time the text was written could have influenced its creation. For example, yung The Prometheus Unbound. Though, poem siya, pero it has a historical value. So, hindi lang siya na-create for us to see na inspired siya sa Greek mythology or sa, ayan. So, doon pinapakita na there's is history. So, may nangyari from the past, kaya siya na-create. So, it talks about the martial law era, right? Okay. Next, the biographical approach. Since the text was an output of a certain individual, it is important to investigate the life of the creator. So commonly naman here in biographical context, it talks about the life and experiences of the author. So commonly yung mga stories, pwedeng related siya sa experiences ni author mismo. For example, yung um, so for example, yung create na novel ni Jose Rizal, The Nalimitang Here and El Filibusterismo. So yung story niya, though fiction siya, di ba? Pero kung i-investigate, i-critic mo yung text, it has the connection with the author's experiences. So that's the biographical approach, okay, that we can see, and it is very evident in the text. So that's the end of our lesson number 3. I hope you've learned a lot from this new lesson number 3. So thank you for your time, for your attentively listening in our lesson. Thank you and goodbye.